Shalom, shalom. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, this Allah Yah with the servants. Right back at it again with another video through the Spirit. Right. And today we're going into the destruction of Nicanor. Right. The destruction of Nicanor. What is it? Because you might have some people on this that follow us that just now coming to this truth and they don't know what destruction of Nicanor is. They never heard of it before. Right. So we're gonna get into it. Right now, right there on you see in the title, it says March the 11th at sundown. So March 11th at sundown, that's the day that we are holding the destruction of Nicanor, or celebrating the memorial of the destruction of Nicanor, right? So we're gonna get into what it is, right? So you got to go understand what time period this was. It's during the Maccabean revolt, right? During the time of Judas Maccabees and those mighty forefathers that we had during that time, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. It says this. Let me see. Let me just come back. Go to my screen. Let me see what I'm sharing. Screen. Bear with me on my screen. All right, there we go. Okay. Anyways, so let's get into it. So we're gonna go to First Maccabees chapter 7, right? And if you don't know what First Maccabees is located, it's located in the Apocrypha. You know what I'm saying? The Apocrypha is if you have a 1611 edition Bible, right, you will have the Apocrypha included inside your Bible. But some most Bibles, right, that come out now, they don't have the Apocrypha in it. It was taken out after 1611. Right, so if you get your 1611 edition Bible, you can already have the Apocrypha in it, or you can buy the Apocrypha separately. Right, it's a little red book, and it says the word Apocrypha on it. Right, so anyways, let's get into it. Right, so we're gonna get straight to the point to when Nicanor was put into place. But first, we're gonna show who was in rulership during this time. So in the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, right, departed from Rome and came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there. So this was during the time that Demetrius was in rulership, right? And I'm gonna go back to this. I got something I'm gonna show y'all, right? Not this right here. This one right here, right? So let me share this. It says during the reign of Demetrius, right? Nicanor is recorded as being active during the early reign of King Demetrius in either late 162 BC or early 161 BCE. Another Seleucid military expedition was sent to Judea, led by General Bacchus, right? So we're gonna start right there, so kind of get it understood what time period this was. Right, so it's around 162 to 161 BCE, right? And at that time, you had King Demetrius, who was in rulership. So Nicanor actually worked for King Demetrius, right? Boom. So we got that, right? So let's go back to this. It says, let's jump down real quick. So now we know what was going on, right? Let's jump down to this. First of all, hold on. Let's read this too. I'm going to jump down to verse 5 so you can know who all the different players is in this thing. All right, so verse 5 says, there came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, right, having Achamus, right, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain. So you had wicked Israelites, right, going to King Demetrius, right, and trying to come against the righteous men in our city, right? Come against Judas Maccabees, right? And all those people. It says, and they accuse the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of their own land. Driven us out of our own land. Right. So you had this wicked man, alchemist, right, going to the heathen, right, just for priesthood, right? And so he turned against his brothers, right? And he's like, this is madness. It's just madness, a wicked spirit on him, man. Right? It's a covetous spirit on him, man. He want to cover the priesthood office, man. And let's go to the law. This is how you know, like, this nigga's wicked, man. Right? But you got Negroes like that now, right? Negroes like that now, right? Coveting a man's position, right? Saying, hey man, I want that position. I see how he is. I see who he's the ruler over this many people. I see he doing this, he doing that. I want that position. I want to be like that. Right? And you got it's just madness. Right. So in the law, it tells you very plain, right? This the book of Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's, right? So that priesthood position, right, that was given to Judas belonged to Judas, right? It belonged to him. And the Lord set him up, right? But you had evil men, right? Evil, and there was Israelites, right? Coming against his brother, covering what his brother has, right? This is just going off, right? Moving in a wicked spirit, right? So let's keep going. It says, hey, and another, let me get another precept. Because as you see, right, this man, he said desires. What is one thing? What's when you move to something, when you desire something strongly, what is that? That's lust. Right, so he was lusting at the priesthood office, man, going crazy. This is the book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, until the law has said, thou shalt not covet. So this man, Alchemist, is lusting after the priesthood, right? Lusting after the position as a priest, right? He really, really wants it. He wants it so bad that he's willing to go to our enemies for it, right? He's willing to bring enemy soldiers to Jerusalem to destroy our people just so he could be set up as high priest. All right. So let's jump down. So the king ended up going with what Alchemist saying, right? So he ended up giving Alchemist men, right? And also Bacchus as well. It says, I'm going to go to verse 8. Then the king chose Bacchus, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood and was a great man in the kingdom and faithful to the king. Right? So this was another player, and here you had Bacchus. And you hold on. Let me see if it mentions Bacchus here. Right. Or you go here, it says another Seleucid military expedition was sent to Judea, led by General Bacchus, right? General Bacchus, right? So this is another player right here. So he was a general, right? And it says, First Maccabees does not record this expedition as being contested. The rebels were presumably rebuilding after their defeat at the Battle of Beth Zechariah, right? A new high priest, Alchemist, was installed in Jerusalem, right? So you hearing all this playing out, right? And they talking, they got it written down right here, right? So let's go back here. All right. And it says, okay, yeah. And it says, in him he sent with that wicked alchemist, right? And you don't want to be an alchemist, man. You don't want to be out here covering the next man's position, right? The next man's spot. You see a brother, he might have a mighty position in the camp. He might have something going on. And you're like, man, I'm envious of that. I want that, right? Or he might have a mighty camp or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? But you're envying that man's position. You're envying that man's spot, right? You don't want to be like Alchemist. He was wicked as hell. Right? It says, whom he had made high priest and commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel. Right? So they departed and came with great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceful words deceitfully. Right, so you got a lot of deceit going on in those times. And that's now, right, and that's to come, right. But it was moving very deceitfully. Let me get a precept. Right, you got people, we got men there. They be talking real good. They be talking real good, but it's really deceit in their heart, right? And this precept really makes me think about that. The book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. Right? It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. The same scenario, right? That they got that it probably was talking real good. Hey man, man, it's all good, man. We ain't gonna bring no harm to you, man. We coolin', we good. We just came here, we just chilling, man. We just chilling, right? Talking real butter, real smooth, but the whole time war is in his heart. And it's actually what was going on, right? This man spoke deceitfully, but war was actually in his heart. All right, so let's go back, and I'm gonna bring that precept out again. All right, because we're gonna see this happen again. All right, it says, but they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come to great power. So boom, that go down. So we're gonna jump. We're gonna jump down, right? We're gonna jump down. So end up alchemists end up slaying 60 men. He ended up slaying 60 men in one day, right? So, and they one of our brothers, right? Fellow Israelites. He a wicked Israelite slain unalive 60 Israelites, right, in one day, right? So let's jump down. All right, so it's right here. We're gonna jump down to verse 20. It says, "Then committed he the country to alchemists and left." Now this is after. Okay, so after those 60 men was unalive, right? I'm gonna just read it. Verse 18 says, "Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, There is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made." Right? And that's going into exactly what we like that precept in the book of Psalms at the 55, right? That they talk as smooth as butter, but war is in their heart, right? And that's what it is, right? So the people end up believing them though, right? And it says after this removed Bacchus, right, from Jerusalem. So he left Jerusalem. So they was in Jerusalem, he left Jerusalem, pitched his tents in Bezeth, right, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. When he had slain them, he cast them to the great pit. Right. Then committed he the country to alchemists and left with him a power to aid him. So Bacchus went to the king. But alchemists contended for the priesthood. Right. So he's fighting for the priesthood. Right. He wants the priesthood. And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power did much hurt in Israel. Now when Judas saw all the mischief that alchemists and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen, right? And that, let me see, I think it's a precept on that. Okay, well, let me see if it's a precept on that actually says something like that. Speaks that same language. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Alchemist, he did worse than the heathen, man. He did worse than the heathen. That's how off he was, man. If I can't find it, I ain't gonna worry about it. But I'm gonna look one more time. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Let me see what we got here. Nah, they not. It's not. Nah, they ain't got it. They ain't got it. Ain't what I'm looking for. So we gonna keep on going. We was reading that though, guys. So, anyways, though, so he did worse than the heathen, man. He went worse than the heathen, though. So it said he went out into all the coasts of Judea round about and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they durst no more go forth into the country. On the other side, when Alchemist saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand, he knew that he was not able to abide their force. He went again to the king and said all the worst of them that he could. Right? So he just really was a combed out demon, man. Right? He ended up getting destroyed in battle. So he going back to this dude, right? It says, then the king sent Nicanor. So this is when Nicanor come into play, right? After Alchemist, right? He was Judas ended up overthrowing his forces, right? So now when he go back to the king this time, now the king is sending Nicanor. Because remember that first the Lord the king sent Bacchides, but Bacchides ended up leaving, right? So now Nicanor on the scene, right? He said, then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, right, with commandment to destroy the people, right? And these nations, they hate us, bro. They don't love us, bro. They hate us. They hate us, right? They bear great hatred for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Just like they did then, they still do now, right? So he said he had deadly hate, right, with commandment to destroy the people. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words. There we go again. That Psalm 55 and 21. I'm going to read that again. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Same thing. Just like how Alchemist came on the scene with that, a Nicanor using that same tactic. Right? I'm coming with deceit. I'm coming smooth, speaking smooth words, right? To get them on my side, and then I'm going to destroy them. Right? Whoo, whoo, whoo. I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna keep jumping down though. It says, cast thy burden upon the Lord, he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Keep that in mind, right? As we go to what we're reading about right here. Right. So we had verse 28. We in First Maccabees 7 and 28. It says, let there be no battle between me and you, and I will come with a few men that I may see you in peace. He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably, howbeit the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence. Right, which thing, after he had known it, to wit, he came unto him with deceit. He was so afraid of him, and he would see his face no more. So now it's a lot of stuff, right, that's not being said in this passage. So when you go to Second Maccabees chapter 14, it kind of hold on, let me get a new tab. I'm gonna just use this tab. All right, when you go to Second Maccabees, it has a little more detail of what was going on, right? Hold on, bear with me. Why this random stuff? Okay. All right, Second Maccabees chapter 14. All right, so we're gonna go to hold on. Let me get it. It says right here, okay. Cause it's let's see. We go right here. We're gonna go to second Maccabees chapter 14. We're gonna go at verse 12. Right? It says, for as long, well, there you go. It says, and for with calling Nicanor, who had been master of elephants, and making him governor over Judea, he sent him forth, commanding him to slay Judas and to scatter them, right, that were with him, to make Alchemist high priest for the great temple. Right. So all this is going on, right? So he made Nicanor the governor over Judea, right? And see, now it didn't put all this it didn't say all this at First Maccabees. So you got to read First and Second Maccabees. You got to read both of them because they got one has more details than the rest, right? So you got to read both of them, right? So it says, then the heathen that had fled out of Judea from Judas came to Nicanor by flocks, thinking the harm and calamities of the Jews to be their welfare. Now, when the Jews heard of Nicanor's coming and that the heathen were up against him, they cast earth upon their heads and made supplication to him that had established his people forever, who always helped his portion with manifestation of his presence. Right, that's the Most High. Right, it's the book of we go back to Psalms. Right, it says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord; he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." All right, so they did the first. Let me get another precept. All right, when things went wrong, they seen things going crazy. What's the first thing they did? They called upon the name of the Lord. Right? You got to understand that's our defense. That's our defender. Right? Psalm 50:15. And call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee. What's like it? I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Right? So boom. There you have it. Our forefathers understood that when it comes to us getting salvation, to being defended, anything, we got to call upon the Most High. We got to have trust in the Most High. And that's what a lot of us is lacking at. Not many people really putting their trust in the Most High. I mean, they put their more trust in money, cars, clothes. Man, did they do the Most High? You got to trust in the Most High, especially with the times that's to come, right? All hell breaking loose, famine to come, pestilence to come, destruction of Babylon coming, man. It's so much stuff just going on that's about to go on. You need to be trusting the Most High and remember these things, right? But anyway, I just want to bring that out. But let's go back, right? It says, and made supplication to him that had established. I'm going to make sure that had established his people forever, and always helped his portion with his manifestation of his presence. So at the commandment of the captain, they removed straightways from thence and came near unto the town of Saul. Right now, Simon, Judah's brother, had joined battle with Nicanor, but somewhat discomfited through the sudden silence of his enemies. Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing the manliness of them that were with Judas, in the courageous of that they had fought for their country, durst not try the matter by the sword. And so that he got kind of scared. So he's like, "Man, I ain't even finna take it up, man. I ain't even finna take it up because I ain't finna take it up." Wherefore he sent Posidonius, right, Theodotus and Mattathias to make peace, right? So you didn't really hear much about all this going on in First Maccabees chapter 7. That's why you read Second Maccabees chapter 14 as well. That way you can get a full understanding of what was going on during those times, right? So it says, so when they had taken a long advisement of thereupon, right, and the captain had made the multitude acquainted therewith, and it appeared they were all of one mind, they consented to the covenant and appointed a day to meet in together by themselves. And when the day came and stools were set for either of them, Ludus placed armed men ready at the convenient places, lest some treachery should be suddenly practiced by the enemies. So they made a peaceful conference. And that's how they had to move with wisdom, right? They had to set men up, right, in different places because these people have a history for being deceitful. And our people study, they still get blinded by the so-called white man to this day. Still get deceived by him to this day, right? When the when the juice came, you know what I'm saying? When the juice came, people got deceived and they would start drinking that juice, right? And it kind of messed them up, right? Right, and that's not the only thing. Oh, when you the what happened in and what's that place? With the Tuskegee experiments, right? The Tuskegee experiments, right? When they gave those brothers syphilis, right? Same type of timing. They be coming. They be so deceitful. You can't fall by the seat. This man. This man don't really give a dang about you, man. Being real, right? And this same man Nicanor is the same. He descended. Not say descended. The same people you see now. They descend from the same people like Nicanor. They the same people. Same people. They move the same way, right? So boom. So it says, now Nicanor abode in Jerusalem and did no hurt. He sent away the people that came flocking unto him, and he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight, for he loved the man from his heart. So at one point in time, right, Judas and like they was in this, Judas and Nicanor was in the same area, right? It says he says willingly have he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight. Right, so they was in the same area, right? He prayed him also to take a wife and to beget children. So he married, was quiet, and took part of this life. So at one point in time, hey, he was dwelling there. This man he got a kid, he got married, right? This was going on, right? But let's keep going. But alchemists perceiving the love that was betwixt them, so it was cool. At one point in time, Judas and Nicanor was cool, right? But here you go, you got this wicked Jake, man. This wicked nigga. You always got that one hating nigga, man. Right? Like the uncle from paid in full, right? The uncle from paid that's what alchemy is like. The uncle from paid in full, man. That dude was a demon, right? So perceiving the love that was betwixt them and considering the covenants that were made, came to Demetrius. Here you go again. I gotta go talk to Master now again, right? And told him that Nicanor was not well affected toward the state, for that he had ordained Judas a traitor to his realm to be the king's successor. Then the king, enraged and provoked with the accusations of the most wicked man, wrote to Nicanor, signifying that he was much displeased with the covenants and commanding him that he should send Maccabeus prisoner in all haste unto Antioch. When this came to Nicanor's hearing, he was much confounded in himself and took it grievously that he should make void the articles which were agreed upon, the man being in no fault. So he ended up, and this man Nicanor, he's a true Edomite, right? He's a true Edomite. He has no loyalty, right? He has no regard for the covenants, the oath that he's made, right? And he just had to hell with that, man. He was confounded. He got bloody like, what the hell is this, right? And he said, man, to hell with them articles that those covenants. To hell that I was cool with this man, had love for this man. To hell with that. Right? To hell with that. He done hooked me up with a wife. I done got married. All this. To hell with all that. But because there was no dealing against the king, he watched his time and accomplished this thing by policy. Notwithstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men and withdrew himself from Nicanor. Right now, this what we're reading right now, you read about this too. Right here. In verse 30, it says, with thing after known to Judas of Salaki. First Maccabees 7 verse 30, it was saying, which this thing was known to Judas to wit, he came unto him with deceit. He was so afraid of him and would see his face no more. Right? So when you read chapter 14, then you see all the different things that was going down. You see, at one point in time, he was cool. You know what I'm saying? Alchemist didn't like this. He was hating, right? Just like you got Jake nowadays, always hating, right? So he went to the king. The king was mad about what he found out. Sent a letter to Nicanor, like I don't like what you got going on. And then after that, Nicanor started moving different, right? He started switching up on Judas, right? And Judas, he peeped it. He peeped game, right? So then he started like, nah, he moving weird, right? And he getting up out of there, right? So it says, but the other, knowing that he was notably prevented, we at 2 Maccabees 14, we at 31, right? Right, yeah. It says, but the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas. And if y'all don't know what churlish mean, I didn't want to skip over that. I'm gonna say, if y'all don't know what churlish mean, we're gonna look it up. Churlish. When I first seen the word, I was like, what is that? Right. So churlish means, if y'all didn't know what that means, churlish means rude and mean-spirited and surely waiting. Right. So it says rude, ill-mannered, discourteous, impolite, ungracious, unmannered, uncivil, ungentlemanly, right? So basically, Nicanor was being rude. He was being rude, bro. He was being rude. You know what I'm saying? Unpolite. He been a butthole. You know what I'm saying? So that was going on, and Judas he peeped what was going on. So it says, now we back at it, but I did want to get the definition of the word church just in case a brother or sister didn't know what that meant, right? So we at verse 31. It says, but the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifice to deliver him the man. And when they were swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, he stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner. If ye will not deliver me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God, even with the ground. I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus. Right? Who was a Bacchus? Right? Right. Let's go to that. Check that out. And this is just wicked as hell to just say this, man. It's wicked as hell. Right? All right, so another name for Bacchus is Dionys. Dionys, something like that. Okay. So we're just gonna read about it real fast. So they had this was their god of wine, right? So it says an ancient Greek religion. So this was, so-called white man, they stuff, man. It's their history, this they stuff. This is how they get down. Right? It says Dionys, something like that. It says it's the god of wine making, orchards, and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. Right? So a god of madness, insanity, you know what I'm saying? All kind of madness, man. This is what this devil said he's gonna tear down our temple, right, of righteousness after the temple to serve the most high, one and true living God, and make it a temple after this demon, this devil here, man. It's madness. He was also known as Bacchus, right? By the Greeks, and a name later adopted by the Romans, right? So they the same people in it. The Greeks and Romans, they're saying there's different sects of Edomites. That's all. The Greeks and the Romans, different sects of Edomites, right? That's it, right? And they end up taking on the same guy. They the same people anyway. So, boom, that's where you have it. And that's what that derived from. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we're not gonna get too deep in because he don't matter. But I wanted y'all to kind of see what was going on, like what kind of God it was. It was just madness, right? So when you hear when he said a notable temple unto Bacchus, he was trying to create a temple of idol worship. So he threatened to make the temple of our God a temple of idol worship, right? To worship a fake God, a dead God, right? It says after these words, I don't know if I was showing my screen then either. I might have wasn't, probably was, but this what it was right here. If y'all didn't see it, but let's go back. So boom, it says after these words he departed. Then the priests lifted up their hands toward heaven and besought him. There we go, besought him that was ever a defender of their nation, saying in this manner, right? So they always resorted in calling upon the Lord, right? They just got threatened, right? They called upon the Lord, right? And that's you gotta remember to call upon the Lord. It says, "Thou, O Lord of all things, who have need of nothing, was pleased that the temple of thy habitation should be among us." Right? Therefore, now, O Lord, it's their prayer. Lord of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled, which lately was cleansed, right? And stop every unrighteous mouth, right? And we know, and so this is going, when it says that's lately was cleansed, this is going to, at one point in time, right? The temple was defiled, right? They defiled it on this Antiochus, Antiochus, however you want to pronounce his name, right? During his time period, when he was reigning, right? He had our temple defiled. They put swine's flesh on the altar, all kind of wickedness. It was freaking off in the temple, all kind of manner of wickedness going on. So the temple was defiled. So Judas ended up coming in, right? Throwing out, he took down the old altar, he put in a new altar, right? They did it all over, right? Now that's going to the Feast of Dedication, right? So this is after the Feast of Dedication happened, right? That's what it's talking about. This is going to after the Feast of Dedication, okay? It says, which lately was cleansed and stopped every unrighteous mouth, right? And let me get this precept too in the book Galatians. Remember this too. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Right? Remember that, man. Don't be a God. Most High is not mocked. Right? Whatever you sow, that's what you're going to reap. It says, for he that soweth of his flesh shall reap the flesh. Now, I'm going to stop right there. That's good. The point is, understand that God's not mocked, right? Now we're gonna keep reading. So you can really we're gonna keep going on 14 because it gets into it. Let me see how far I go down. All right, we're gonna keep going on. We're gonna keep going to 14 because in verse 7, First Maccabees chapter 7, it really just it just sum it all up. So we could just we're just gonna read the whole account, what we're reading right now. You know what I'm saying? And then, we just keep it like that. Right? Con on praise the most out of y'all saw. Okay, con. So we're gonna get back to it. Right. So it says in the book of Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees 14:36. Therefore now, O Lord, holy Lord, of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled, which lately was cleansed, and stop every unrighteous mouth. Now was there accused unto Nicanor one rises, one of the elders of Jerusalem, a lover of his countrymen, and a man of very good report. For his kindness was called after the call of father of the Jews. Right, so this is a righteous man, right? Razes, right? A righteous man. It says, for his kindness was called the father of the Jews, right? For in former times, when they mingled not themselves with the Gentiles, he had been accused of Judaism and did boldly jeopard his body and life with all vehemency for the religion of the Jews, right? That's mighty, right? It says he did boldly jeopardy. So he put his body and his life in jeopardy, right? For the law, statutes, commandments, right? He put his body and life in jeopardy. Right. Let me go to a precept. Get a precept. Hey, we gotta make our body living sacrifice, man. Let me get that. And I'm gonna get one. This Romans chapter 12, verse 1. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. Right? That's reasonable. Like that's reasonable service for us Israelites. Is to give. That's reasonable for us to give our bodies, right, as a living sacrifice unto the Lord, holy and acceptable. And we got to be holy, right, which means being separate, right? And I'm gonna get another precept in First Maccabees chapter 2, right? This is the spirit that our forefathers had on them, right? They was giving their minds, their bodies for this truth, man. They said, "No, I gotta die for this," right? Let me get this where I want it. Where I want. This Second Maccabees chapter 2, verse 50. It says, now therefore, my son, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Right? So this is the spirit that our forefathers in. Right? I gotta die for this. It's all I got. Right? So read on. So let's go to back to Second Maccabees chapter 14. Right? So Nicanor, we have verse 39 right now. It says, so Nicanor, willing to declare the hate that he bare unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him, for he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt. This is how devious these devils is. He said, man, to hurt these people, I'm going to take somebody that they truly care for, somebody they said they called the father of the Jews, and he was an elder. Right, so you just imagine an elder of our nation, right? Somebody that everybody like, man, that's a stand-up guy. People kind of look up to him like, man, that dude is cool. That's a mighty elder, man. And he love his people, man. And in like, we're gonna take him, we're gonna put harm in him just so we can hurt these people. That's a devil for you, right? But that's the spirit of the so-called white man. That's how they get down. That's how the so-called white man get down, man. That's how he get down. I want these people to hurt. I want these people to mourn. Let me take on they chief men. Let me do that. All right. Now, when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken in the outer door and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side fell upon his sword, choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused otherwise than beseem his noble birth. Right? What does that mean? Right? What does that mean? It says to then to become in the hands of wicked, right? To be abused otherwise. Because the so-called white man, he's a devil, he's a demon. What did he mean? Abuse him, to grape him, right? To abuse him in the way that you should abuse a man, if you know what I mean, right? That's what they're talking about. He said, man, I'd rather die manfully than to go out like that. Because they sick demons, man. Right? And it's nothing new under the sun. Look what they did to our forefathers in the islands, right? Jamaica, when they was buck busting. These are same people. Same people. So his man said, I'd rather die right now, right? Than have these people put their hands on me and then they freak up, try to do whatever with me, man. Whatever. Right? It's crazy, man. But these the people though. These the people, man. But missing his stroke through haste, the multitude also rushing within the doors, he went boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them. But they quickly giving back, in a space being made, he fell down in the midst of the void place. Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger, he rose up, and though his blood gushed out like spouts of water, and his wounds were grievous, yet he ran through the midst of the throng, and standing upon a steep rock, right? And when as his blood, so he was angry, blood gushing out this way, that way, man, right? But he's still going in, right? It says when as his blood was now quite gone, he plucked out his bowels, and taking them in his hands, he cast them upon the throne, and calling upon the Lord of life in spirit to restore him those again, thus he died. This one of our forefathers, man. It says, and he understood this, right? What does that mean? It says calling upon the Lord of life in spirit to restore him those again. Because he understood regeneration. He understood being back here on the earth again. That's what he understood, that, right? That's understanding this, bro. You know what I'm saying? We might get taken out in this thing. We might lose our life. But the Lord can restore that back. They can restore this body back. See, there's nothing for him to do that. That's why it says the Lord of life. We serve the Lord of life, not the Lord of death, the Lord of life. So he creates life. He gives life. So it's nothing for him to give us a body again. Nothing for us to give us spiritual body. Right? But you got to want to die for this thing manfully and righteously, right? Like how you going to have some people, hey, they're going to be martyrs for this truth, right? Kind of what we talked about in the previous class with with Judge Eli, right? So again, we serve the Lord of life, right? And you might lose your whatever you lose with this body, the Lord can restore that to you again, no problem, right? So he understood this, right? So let's go to the next chapter, right? It says, but Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in strong places about Samaria, right? So we gonna get the map. We're gonna get the maps. I got a map here, kind of show y'all what was going on, right? Right. So let me get this right quick. I'm gonna get this one right quick. I'm gonna go back, but I'm gonna get this one. So Nicanor heard that Judas then was in this region right here, right? He heard that Nicanor heard that Judas was in this region right here, right? Because you got understood that during those times they did take back Samaria, right? I gotta understand that. So boom, they did get parts of Samaria back. So you have that right there. They had a spot up here, right? So understand that. Right, let me see if I can blow it up for y'all. Boom. So Nicanor was in this region. I'm not Nicanor, but Judas was in this region right here. You gotta get a little Hasmonean forces, you know what I'm saying? Different things like that. But this is a different battle. But I just wanted y'all to get a kind of visual of where Judas was, right? Oh, Slack it. This is where Judas was right here. This is where Judas was in this region right here. So y'all gotta get a visual of what's going on, right? So now I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna come back to this map again. But we seen what kind of got that visual of what we're reading, right? So it says and his company were in the strong places about Samaria, was all without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, "Oh, destroy not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day which he that seeth all things have honored with holiness above all other days." Right? And that's understanding this. It's important to keep the Sabbath day holy, right? And you got some people, right? And our forefathers understood that the Sabbath day, that's the day to be honored out of all other days, right? So you that keep in mind, that's why it's so important, bro. You can't be out here just willingly just breaking the Sabbath, bro. Going the hell off, bro. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Because our forefathers in that same spirit, like, man, this that day, man, of all days. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Remember how important it is. Honor the Sabbath day. I just want to kind of bring that out. Because you got some people, man, they don't give a dang about the Sabbath. They just do what the hell they want to do. All right. But anyways, verse 3 says, "Then the most ungracious wretch demanded if there were a mighty one in heaven." Whoo, this is crazy. Whoo, this is crazy. It's crazy, man. That they had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept. And when they said there is in heaven a living God and mighty who commanded the Sabbath day to be kept, then said the other, "And I also am mighty." Ooh. Oh, this right here, this Galatians chapter 6 again. Keep this in mind. Galatians, these wicked niggas talking out the you know what. I'm not even only want to repeat that. They said the most ungracious wretch demanded if there were a mighty one. Nigga, what you mean? What you talking about? But this is how wicked they was. Wicked as hell. Who the hell would say something like this? A damn devil. Right? They just talking crazy. They talking real crazy. Right? Real crazy. Real crazy. Galatians 6 and 7 again. Right? "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap." Keep that in mind. And I'm going to get another precept. Nahum 1 and 2. Right? It says, "God is just, and the Lord avengeth. The Lord avengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked." Keep that in mind, right? He will not at all acquit the wicked. You're not going to escape. You talking crazy like that about the Most High God? Bet. It says, "And when they said, there is in heaven a living Lord and mighty," right, "who commanded the 7th day to be kept, then said the other, and I also am mighty upon the earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business." Whoo. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done. Right? I got to get another precept. Because these niggas is going off. It's crazy. They just talking real crazy. They talking real crazy. Right? It's the scripture said, "Pride go up before destruction." Let me get that. Because these people talking crazy. Let me get Proverbs 16 and 18. Let me get Proverbs 16 and 18. Then there's another one too. Proverbs 6 and 18. It says, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Keep that in mind. So we can't be, you don't want to be like these men talking real crazy, just being prideful. But you got to humble yourself. Understand with the Most High, but don't play with him. He'll take you out of this thing, man. He'll literally take you out. Humble yourself. Pride go before destruction. Right? And understand again, these people, our people love to back up the so-called white man. But anyways, I'm gonna get another precept. All right, these are the people with Nicanor, right? These are the people that's with Nicanor. All right, so hold on. Let me I want to get this in I want to get this precept right in Sirach, right? It's Sirach 10 and 9, right? It says, "Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man," right? For one, but I want to stick on the point. Why is earth and ashes proud? Because understand that we ain't nothing but earth, we nothing but dust and ashes, bro. Dust and ashes. So who are we to be proud? Who the hell are we? Right? Why is earth and ashes proud? Sit down somewhere, bro. You ain't nothing but dust and ashes. Hey, just vibe out, bro. Just chill. Right? So let's go to back what we was reading. Right? Verse 6 says, "So Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that worked with him." Right? So now he moving with that pride. We just read what happened with the pride. Pride will for destruction. Why is the earth and ashes prideful? Let's keep going. But Maccabees had ever confidence that the Lord would help him. Did it say he had ever confidence that he was going to overthrow him? That his men was going to overthrow him? No. That his weapon was going to fight for him? No, he said, hey, he said, but he had sure confidence that the Lord would help him. Let me get a precept. Get a precept right quick. It's in the book of Psalms, right? It says a precept in the book of Psalms that's going into, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get this bit. Yeah, right here, Psalms 20 and 7. Right, I'm gonna get it. Psalms 27. It says, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God." Right? Though, I'm just leave out right there. Right? Some put their trust in chariots and horses, but we gotta have our trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right? I'm gonna keep reading. It says, "They are brought down and fallen, but we are rising up and stand upright. Save, Lord. Let the King hear us when we call." Who's the King? Yahweh. Right? So boom. That's what's going on, man. Our forefathers trusted in the Most High. They trust in the Most High, right? And this thing getting good. It's getting good, right? You just can't read these accounts and you be like, yeah, they had confidence in the Lord that He's gonna help them. And it says, "Wherefore He exhorted His people." You can't just read that like that, man. You can't just be like, yeah, like, man, no, this is a movie. This is excitement, right? It's action, it's everything. Right? It says, "Wherefore He exhorted His people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which shall come unto them from the Almighty, and so comforting them out of the law and the prophets, and withal putting them in mind of the battles that were won afore. He made them more cheerful." Right? So he going back, let them know, hey man, remember what the Most High did for us. Remember all these times the Most High saved us, fought for us, brought us aid. Remember this. But we got to think about that too. How many times the Most High came in on your behalf on a situation when you really could have been out of here, but you still here, right? Just remember that, right? So it says, "And when He had stirred up their minds, He gave them their charge, showing them what they were thought the falsehood of the heathen and the breach of oaths," right? Because these heathen, they done broke their oaths, right? They fought the falsehood, the lies, the deceit. Thus He armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears, as with comfortable and good words. Right? So He was exhorting them. He exhorted His brothers. He said it's armed them, not with just shields and spears, but with comfort with good words, speaking about the Most High, remind them how the Most High done mighty things for them, right? And beside that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been in so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. It says, and this was his vision, that Onias, right? Y'all looking to Onias. He was a priest who had been high priest, a virtuous and good man, reverent in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised. Let me see my time limit at first, right? So I'm gonna keep going. I've been kind of long-winded, so I'm gonna think I'm gonna just jump down to the point. But y'all gotta read it. So he had a dream, right? The dream was mighty, right? So I'm gonna just jump down for the sake of time, right? So we're gonna jump down to verse 24. It says, "Though the might of thine arm let those be stricken with terror, and that come against thy holy people to blaspheme, he ended his thus. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer." Invocation and prayer. So they met the enemy with invocation and prayer. Right? That's mighty, man. That is so freaking mighty. Right? Let me get another precept. Get another precept. Book of James, chapter 5, verse 17. 16. James 5 and 16. James 5 and 16. Bring that out real fast. James 5 and 16. It says, "Confess your faults one to another, the prayer of and pray for one another that ye be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." I want the latter part of that. It says, "The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." Right? So our forefathers, they was in fervent prayer. Right? They was going hard. They was praying. They got the enemy in front of them, and they throwing up prayers to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? So that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts, they slew no less than 30 and 5,000 men. For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered. Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness. Right? They made a great shout and noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. So they probably said, "Call Yahweh," right? That's what they might have said. I'm pretty sure that's probably what they said, man. Call Yahweh, right? Praising the Almighty in their own language, right? They were speaking in Hebrew, right? And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind, he was not only a defender in body but in mind as well. Hey, we gotta look out for each other. We gotta protect each other, not only in body, but in our minds, our spirits. Exhorting one another, lifting up one another, praying for one another, fasting for one another, right? And who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head in his hand with his shoulder and bring them to Jerusalem. So they chopped off his head and chopped off his hand with his shoulder. So he chopped his whole arm off. So when he was there and called them to his nation to gather together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that there were of the tower and showed them vile Nicanor's head. So he showed them his head, like, man, the same man talking real crazy. This is his head in the hand of that blasphemer, which with proud brags had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. So that's why I remember I said Galatians 6 and 7. Remember that. That same hand that he stretched out against our temple, speaking against the Most High God, that same hand got chopped off. Straight up, the same arm chopped off, gone. Right? And when he had cut out the tongue of the ungodly Nicanor, so he ended up taking out this man's tongue, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple. So they chopped this man's head off. They chopped off his arm, right? Then they broke his tongue. They cut his tongue up in pieces and fed it to the birds, right? This was our forefathers did. So you don't sit here, you coon or porch monkeys, and be like, oh, you know, that's the so-called white man. You can't do him. Man, our forefathers didn't give a damn about the so-called white man, right? They didn't care, right? They was valiant men. They was mighty men. They didn't play no games. They got down, right? They got down, right? So it says, for every man prays toward the heaven and glorious Lord, saying, blessed is he that have kept his own place undefiled, right? He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord, right? Mighty. And they ordained all with the common decree, in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, right? So we can't let this day pass without solemnity. Let me get that word in definition terms. Right, so it means solemnity, right? Solemnity, there it is, solemnity, right? Solemnity, formal or ceremonious observance of an occasion or event, right? So this is a ceremonious occasion and event, right? So when we speaking of destruction of Nicanor, it's a ceremony, it's an occasion, right? It says, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month. So March 11th will be the 13th day of the 12th month, right? Right now we're in the 12th month, right? We're in the 12th month, right? We're going into the first month next, right? The beginning of the year, right? We don't keep our days like the so-called white man. His new year already started, right? We're in our 12th month just now, right? We're not 12th month right now. So on the 13th day, right? That's the day what we call the destruction of Nicanor, which in Assyrian tongue is called Adar, right? So it says the day, and that's the same. It's the same. Let's keep reading. The day before Mordecai's day. So whatever day that you keep Purim, right? The day before that is the destruction of Nicanor. So right after the destruction of Nicanor is the Purim, right? That's a whole other lesson within itself, right? But today's lesson is we going into the destruction of Nicanor, right? But yeah, so you have March 11th, right? Then March 12th will be the day of Purim. So your day of the destruction of Nicanor is always a day before Purim, right? Which is Mordecai's day, right? Look it up, get into it, right? Thus went it with Nicanor, and from that time forth, the Hebrews had city in their power, and here will I make it end, right? So that's what that day is, right? And again, we can read it in it's 2 Maccabees chapter 7. Same thing, but I'll just read it again in this in the end. It says verse 48, it says, for this cause, First Maccabees 7:48, for this cause the people rejoiced greatly, and they kept that day a day of great gladness. So in the day of destruction, Nicanor, you gotta be happy. You gotta be happy and remember what we just talked about. Remember this great and vile enemy that stretched out his hand towards our temple, the Lord's temple, the Most High, right? Right, who also killed Razes, a mighty sought to kill Razes, a mighty forefather of ours, right? Just a wild, vile, wicked man. Spoke proudly, right, against us in the temple. Talked about the Sabbath day, our Lord. They're just talking all type of stuff, right? Great gladness. This day you gotta be happy on the destruction, Nicanor. You can't be sitting there. It's the destruction, Nicanor. You sitting there, you thinking about your bills. You thinking about whatever. You just sitting there. You gotta be joyous. You gotta be happy, man. Right? Keep that day in gladness. Moreover, they are ordained to keep yearly this day, being the 13th of Adar. So we keep this day yearly, every year, right? Every year you celebrate, right, the destruction of Nicanor. It's a memorial, a mighty memorial, right, of what the Lord did for us as Israelites. But Lord willing, that was edifying, and you got a full understanding of the day of destruction. Nicanor, right? Who was playing? What was going on, the time period, the different areas. I did want to show y'all before we get off the map I did have pulled up, so y'all can see where Nicanor was slain. Right? Let me show y'all this. So this was Nicanor was slain, right? It says Nicanor's fall in battle with remnants of his army. In that battle that Nicanor was in, what that battle was called, it was called a battle of Adasa, right? That's another thing, battle of Adasa. So keep that in mind too. It was called Battle of Adasa, right? And this is where it happened at, right? Nicanor fell here. That's why they call it the Battle of Adasa, because that's where he fell. That's where he fell at. So that battle that he got into it with Judas, where he got unalived, that's called the Battle of Adasa. Look it up, right? So with that, I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, be a brother, sister, mighty, 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 shalom.